Wow, another 14 Pro cracked glass mailed into us by a shop. We're just going to change the top glass on this. I'm going to go more in depth here than I usually do. It's not going to be just a summary. This is going to be almost the full process. So alcohol around the edges after you remove the bottom two screws is crucial. Loosens up and softens the adhesive around the device. So you want to heat this with a heat gun, and you need to have a razor blade ready to go into the side here. But just heat it to where it's too hot to touch. You don't want to go too crazy with the heat. You can damage the OLED if you heat it too hot. Slide in a blade in between the frame and the glass. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries to get it in there, but it will go. This one's not as bad as like 14 Plus. You have to use a super thin one. This is a 14 Pro. A little bit easier, in my opinion, to get the screen out. As you see, it's up now. Now, the key to not having a line is lifting up, making sure you're under the frame at all times, not in between the frame and the glass. As you see there, I'm under the frame the whole entire time. So, and then I heat a little bit more alcohol, especially on the bottom. The bottom's very sensitive where the flex cable is located. That's the main part where you would get a line if you damage that, or if you just lift it up and the frame lifts up and you're in between the glass and the frame, you will have damage on the OLED. Lines are almost impossible to get out. I don't know very many people who do the lines repair. I know one or two people, and it's crazy expensive, takes forever to get it done. He's not even responding to me. I think he's so busy. So anyway, we're heating this screen again along the edges. If you do it the way I'm doing it, the exact way, you won't have any OLED damage, especially with a little bit of practice. I have not damaged one taking it out of a frame in a very long time. They never get damaged because I do them the exact same process every time. I will show testing this when I get this out of the frame just to show that it's not damaged. I turn it off while I'm taking it out, but that's just out of habit. Now at the top, you want to take a blade, kind of slip it in like you did the side, and just kind of lift up back and forth a little bit. And that will eventually, you'll feel it pop out of the frame, and then you can just lift the screen out. You may have to give it a little more heat and a little more alcohol at the top, but maybe not. So now I'm going to power it up, show everybody that this works, and there we go, voila. We're going to test the touch just to make sure, I always test after every step to make sure there's no damage. And then if I did damage something, figure out what I did during that step to not do that again, because these screens are very expensive. So as you see, we didn't damage the screen. Everything looks good. No spots, no lines. Going to power it down. And we're going to take all the screws out of the device and take that metal bracket plate off. There's, 8 to 10 screws in here. They're all tri-wing. So that's different than what Apple has on most models. They're usually like different sizes and different, they are different sizes, but usually they're different heads too. You'll get standard screw, and then you'll get a tri-wing and standoff screw. You'll get a bunch of different ones, but this one's just all tri-wing for the plate. And once all those screws are out, you lift that up. The first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery, then the screen, and then the top flex that's connected to the screen. That's the proximity sensor. It's not tied to Face ID anymore, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about ripping that cable and having damage to the Face ID. It is replaceable. So battery, screen, top piece, that's it. And then you remove the prox, like I said. And once the prox is removed, you can start refurbishing the screen. Now what you need for this as a shop, you need a good lamination machine, you need a good glass supplier, you also need a debubbler, you need a way to get the glass off, So you also need some molds and some frames. It makes stuff a lot easier if you've got molds and frames. You'll see those coming up here later in the video. Right now I'm just again removing this proc sensor. I give it a little heat, a little alcohol. It's not detrimental if you rip this. I mean, obviously don't try to rip it, but it doesn't end anything. It is replaceable, and the device won't produce any error if it's replaced or anything. So, and next we want to put packaging tape over the front of the display so that the glass comes off in one piece. So I just use some regular packaging tape. If you don't do this, little glass shards will come through the OLED and scratch it, and you will probably break the OLED. And it'll make it way harder to get the glass off as well. So, and I've got a good angle here. I put the stand over there. You'll see the line break a couple times. That happens on these every single time. So you want to get in that little gap between the frame and the glass there. You can remove the frame prior to doing this, and that's actually probably the better way. However, I'm doing this with the frame on. We put some cold pressed glue. I lift it up and I put cold pressed glue around the frame prior to putting it back on the phone. Then we clamp it for a little bit, 30 minutes, 40 minutes prior to putting it back inside the device. So this wire is going to break 2 or 3 times initially getting it in, and then I think I can, once you're in on both sides, you generally doesn't break again. But depends on what model. 14 Pro Max lately for me has been hard to get in. I don't know if my my hot plate is not heating evenly or something. I'm not quite sure. I've had it for a while. I do a ton of volume, so it could be that. Finally we got in there on both sides. You can sort of tell when if you've done this for a while, if you're in between Oka or if you've damaged like the polarizer or the OLED, you'll feel it. You'll feel if you're dragging something too. Immediately, if you feel like you're dragging a shard, take the glass off and check it. This one was came off pretty smooth. You got to be really careful getting it off. That they're everywhere. At the top, you got the dynamic island. Just go really slow, and I kind of hold it there at the end. That way I can get the last piece of glass off, so I don't have to take the glass off manually with like a razor blade. That's a pain, and sometimes you can produce damage doing it that way. So the glass is off now. I always kind of touch it, see if it'll come off. If not, I run the wire through one more time. As you can see, it's good to go. No damage. We didn't get under polarizer or anything. You can just see the glass and the OCA. We're going to test this screen, make sure it's still good. I'm 99% sure that it's still good. See, we just took off the glass and we're booting it. Looks good. We're going to test the touch, obviously. And it's good. So next would be cleaning it. Again, I just use alcohol. A lot of guys use other stuff. I like alcohol the best. It softens it up. It doesn't damage the screen. You can pretty much put as much as you want on there. No, don't go too crazy, but you can put a lot of alcohol on these, and it's not going to damage the screen. But you want to, when you use the roller here, you want the roller to be rolling in the opposite direction you're pulling towards. So if you're going down with it, you want the roller to be spinning up, and if you're going up, you want it to be spinning down, because if you don't, then it can go under your screen like at the bottom and damage your polarizer. It's happened to me before, and if you damage a polarizer, it's really difficult to fix the display. I'll be honest, like most of the time it's just, I call it quits. It's a nightmare, to be honest. It's changing the polarizer on these is not easy. Can it be done? Yes. It's very difficult, though, to do it successfully. You can, and it takes a long time, too. I did one on a 15 series a while back. It took me about 2.5 hours to do one screen. So typically, if a shop just sends me a display, I can do it in 30 minutes, one display. Sometimes they'll send me a batch of 25 or 30 or so. That'll take me a day or two to get done, but I can get them done pretty quick. I work on my own, I used to I used to own multiple repair shops in Indianapolis area, Zionsville, Indiana, and Indianapolis. I was a partner at another shop. We moved to Kentucky about 3.5 years ago due to some issues with health with my wife. So we are here now. I work from home, and I prefer that, actually. It's really good. I do better here than I did at my shops. Now I'm doing a little bit more stuff as far as I'm offering a more variety of things. So like this refurbishing service, this has really grown my business exponentially. It's really helping supplement our income. I also have another side business. I make signs and then obviously walk-in traffic here at my location. I get a lot of walk-in traffic, repairs, and I sell a lot of devices. It's tremendously busy here. Even though it's a small town, we see a lot of people, so it's been a blessing so far. And we're cleaning this a little more. Basically, I'm just using alcohol and they call it a clean room cloth. You can find these on probably on Amazon or AliExpress. I get mine from my supplier in China, where I get my glass and everything. She's really good. You can see the screen's really pretty clean there. We're going to make some final adjustments on it. Make sure it's super clean. The cleaner this is, again, I can't stress this enough, the better it laminates. It needs to be super clean around the edges, the screen, everything. You will see any speck of dust under this, you will see once you laminate it. Your customer will see it, or if you're doing it for other shops, they'll see it. It's not good business. And then you have to redo it, and that's just another 30 to 40 minutes down the drain if you're busy. It's a big deal. And there's always a chance if you redo it that you break it. So clean really, really well. Good equipment helps. People try to go really cheap on laminators. They try to go really cheap on the debubblers. So the equipment you have plays a key role in this kind of business. You really want really good equipment. If you have junky equipment, you're going to get a junky result and think that you're doing something wrong when you're really not. What's happening is the equipment is not working right. The equipment is terrible. So I had that happen when I first started with some cheap equipment. I upgraded, and now I have really good stuff. I don't have any equipment issues. Hopefully I won't for a very long time because it was expensive. So but we saved up for it through refurbishing and whatnot. So here I'm just cleaning it as good as I possibly can. This is a 14 Pro glass with OCA already installed on it. And then I lay this in right on top of this, right in the mold. There's little grooves on the sides and the bottoms. You want to make sure it fits right in those grooves, and it's not setting up or anything. It won't laminate right. Make sure it's in there perfectly. And then when it is, just make one tap in the middle and push the screen out of it. Now that you've got the one tap, you can laminate it. You do need an external air compressor for this and the bubbler. So 1 minute, and look at that. Voila. Almost doesn't even need to go in the debubbler. The YMJ does such a good job, but we're going to put it in there because there is a couple bubbles that you can't see with the plastic over the top. We want it to be perfect, obviously. It's going to be in here for 8 minutes. Once it's done, I'll show you guys the result and put the phone back together. So we've attached the screen back to the phone. I cold press glued the frame and resealed the device up. Put the bottom 2 screws back in, the plate, and all those screws. Just doing our final testing on this to make sure everything is good to go. As you see, there's no screen message, which means this is the original screen that came with the device. So we didn't swap to the screen or anything like that. This is the same phone, obviously. We just swapped the glass on it. If you'd like this done to your phone, send me a message. We try to get these done the same day they arrive. Generally, it's within 1 to 2 business days at the most. If you need this done to your phone, let me know. Send us a message. Thank you.